Welcome to today's video. Music is an integral part of life, and speakers are the bridge that brings sound to our ears. But instead of just listening to music today, we will turn a familiar speaker into a work of art on paper. In this tutorial, you will learn how to sketch the overall picture, create characteristic details, handle light and shadow, and add a little background to make the picture look vivid, realistic, but still easy to do. Prepare your drawing paper pencil ruler if you want precise lines and start right now. First, imagine the speaker you want to draw. You can choose floor-standing speakers, compact bookshelf speakers, or modern cylindrical speakers. In this tutorial, we will draw a basic floor-standing speaker, which is both recognizable and easy to create details. A speaker usually consists of two main parts, the speaker cabinet and the speaker cones. The speaker cabinet is a vertical or horizontal rectangle, while the speaker cones are the circles that sit in front of the cabinet. By visualizing the overall picture first, it will be easier to arrange the details and keep the proportions correct, making the picture look balanced and harmonious. Let's start by sketching the speaker cabinet frame. On paper, draw a vertical rectangle with straight edges, but the corners can be slightly rounded if you want the speaker to look softer. This is the overall frame of the speaker cabinet, so keep the lines very light for easy adjustment. You can use a ruler to make the lines precise or draw by hand if you want to practice your skills. Once you have the main frame, determine the ratio between the height and width so that it is reasonable, not too high or too narrow for the speaker to look realistic. Next, we sketch the speaker cones. A floor-standing speaker usually has 2 or 3 speaker cones, including a large woofer at the bottom and a smaller tweeter at the top. Draw concentric circles right on the front of the speaker cabinet. The large circle below is the woofer, the small circle above is the tweeter. Pay attention to the spacing so that the overall look is balanced and beautiful. If you want, you can add a small circle in the middle of the speaker cone to create the feeling of the speaker cone rising. This makes the picture more vivid and realistic. After having the speaker cone, sketch out additional details such as the screw holes that fix the front panel to the speaker box. These are small dots around the speaker cone. You don't need too many, just enough for the viewer to recognize the presence of these details. If your speaker has a brand logo, you can also draw a small letter or a simple symbol on the bottom of the speaker box. These details, although small, contribute to the authenticity of the picture. Now we move on to the edges and frame of the speaker box. Speaker boxes often have raised edges or ridges around the sides. You can sketch thin lines running around the edges to create the feeling of a solid and structured speaker box. If you want a modern look, keep the edges simple and sharp. If you want a classic look, you can add some moldings or wood grain on the top of the cabinet. These lines don't need to be too detailed, just suggestions to make the picture more vivid. Once the basic structure is done, the next step is to create light and shadow. This is an important factor to prevent the picture from being flat. Imagine the light coming from the top left. The bottom and right side of the cabinet will be darker. Use a pencil to lightly fill in each layer to create smooth shadows. Avoid painting too hard at the beginning. You can emphasize the bottom of the woofer, the speaker feet, or the cabinet edges to increase the feeling of volume. The speaker cone also needs to have a gentle shade to suggest depth. Especially the concentric rings on the speaker cone should have a layer of gloss and light to simulate the protrusion of the speaker cone. Next, you can add a little reflection effect on the surface of the speaker cabinet. If the speaker cabinet is metal or glossy wood, use a light diagonal line to create a reflection, making the surface look more vivid and realistic. With a large woofer, the cone in the middle should leave a small bright spot, creating the feeling of light shining directly on the curved surface of the speaker membrane. The tweeter should also be treated similarly with a lighter level to distinguish the size and position. After processing the light, we add the surrounding context to make the picture more vivid. You can draw the speaker standing on the floor or a small shelf on the side. You can add an electric wire running behind or some small decorative details around like books, headphones, or bonsai. These elements make the picture closer but do not lose the main character, which is the speaker. Keep the composition simple and subtle, adding just enough to increase the feeling of reality and depth. Once all the details are completed, the final step is to observe the overall. Hold the paper a little further away and check that the lines are even and the light and shadow are even. If any parts are too dark or out of proportion, you can use an eraser and a pencil to make slight adjustments. These final touches are essential to perfecting the drawing, making the speaker look both realistic and artistic. And finally, when you are satisfied with your work, sign your name in the corner of the paper. Every painting is a personal mark, and signing is not only a finishing step, but also a mark of your creative journey. Be proud of every stroke, whether it is a sketch or a finished detail. Music inspires, and music paintings will inspire you and everyone around you. Thank you for watching the video until the end. I wish you always be full of creativity, and see you in the next tutorial videos where we will explore more interesting and unique painting ideas. And before saying goodbye, I want to say that every painting, whether small or large, is an opportunity for you to try and express your own style. Don't be afraid to add color detail or experiment with different compositions. Let the joy of creativity guide you and share your works with everyone, because creativity, when spread, will be more meaningful. Thanks again for being with us, and see you in the next videos where we will explore more interesting and inspiring drawing topics. Welcome to today's video. Chairs are a familiar item in everyday life, from living room chairs, study tables, to chairs in cafes or offices. But today, instead of just looking at a chair as an object, we will put it on paper and turn it into a work of art. In this tutorial, you will learn how to sketch the overall shape of a chair, add characteristic details such as the back of the chair, chair legs, armrests, create light and shadow effects, and add a bit of background to make the drawing look vivid, realistic, and have depth. Prepare your drawing paper, pencil, ruler if you want precise lines, and let's start right now. First of all, imagine the chair you want to draw. There are many different types of chairs: classic wooden chairs, modern upholstered chairs, chairs with or without arms, office chairs with wheels, or simple chairs for the living room. In this tutorial, we will be drawing a classic wooden chair with armrests, as it is easy to recognize and easy to detail, but still has enough richness to make the picture come alive. Visualizing the whole first will help you to correctly compose the parts of the chair, keeping the proportions between the seat back, armrests, and legs balanced, avoiding making the picture unbalanced. We start by sketching the overall frame of the chair. On a piece of paper, draw a small rectangle slightly tilted if you want to create a three-dimensional view. This will be the seat where the person sits. The seat is usually wider than the depth, so be careful to keep the proportions reasonable. You can sketch it lightly with a pencil to make it easier to adjust. Do not draw too thick. Once you have the seat, the next step is to sketch the legs. A basic chair has 4 legs, but in a three-dimensional view, the 2 front legs will be more obvious. The 2 back legs can be drawn more faintly or hidden by the seat. Sketch straight lines down from the corners of the chair seat to create the legs. You can add a little thickness to the legs to make them look solid. Next, we sketch the back of the chair. The back of the chair can be a straight rectangle or slightly curved, depending on the style. Draw it connecting to the chair seat, keeping the proportions reasonable. Usually the back of the chair is about 1.5 times higher than the seat. If the chair has horizontal bars or decorative details on the back, you can add horizontal lines or simple geometric patterns. If you want to create a classic style, you can add soft curves at the edge of the back of the chair or small lines simulating wood carvings. The back of the chair is an important detail deciding the aesthetics and feeling of sustainability for the picture. Now we add the armrests. The armrests of the chair can be soft curves connecting from the back of the chair to the front, ending at the seat or the legs of the chair. Draw lightly for easy editing, then you can thicken the lines when you are satisfied. If the chair you are drawing is a wooden chair, the armrests can be slightly rounded or have carved details. Just sketching a few lines is enough. The armrests make the chair painting look more realistic and complete, and at the same time create a feeling of inviting the viewer to try sitting on the chair in the painting. After having the basic structure, the next step is to handle the light and shadow. This is an important step to prevent the chair painting from being flat. Imagine the light coming from the top left. The bottom and right edges of the chair will be darker. Use a pencil to lightly shade each layer to create smooth shadows. Avoid painting too hard at the beginning. The chair legs should be emphasized at the bottom to increase the feeling of solidity. The chair surface can add a light shadow at the corner or where it meets the back of the chair. The armrests also need to be treated similarly. The bottom and inside parts have a shadow to create a prominent shape. Remember to create soft shadows, many light layers to make the painting natural and vivid. Next, you can add a little reflection or light effect on the surface of the chair. If it is a glossy wooden chair or a chair with a smooth paint finish, small highlights on the seat or armrests will make the object look more realistic. If the chair has carved details on the back, you can add small shadows next to these lines to create a sense of volume. These details do not need to be too much, just a hint for the viewer to recognize the structure and material of the chair. After dealing with light and shadow, we add the surrounding context to make the picture come alive. You can draw the chair standing on the floor next to a small table or near a window. Add some details such as a rug, books, a potted plant, or a small cup of tea on the table. These details make the picture close and lively, but should not be too much to avoid losing the main character, which is the chair. Keeping the composition simple, delicate, and balanced will help the picture look professional. Once all the details are completed, the final step is to observe the overall. Hold the paper away from you to check the composition proportions and lighting. If the chair legs seem uneven, the armrests are a little off, or the shadows are unnatural, use a pencil or eraser to gently adjust them. These final touches will complete the drawing and make it look professional. Once you're satisfied, go over the main lines again to make them clearer, sharper, and smoother. And finally, when the painting is finished, sign your name in the corner of the paper. Each painting is a personal mark, and signing your name marks your creative journey. Be proud of every stroke, whether it is a sketch or a finished detail. A chair is a familiar object, and drawing it will help you carefully observe the surrounding details, practice patience, and the ability to coordinate light and shadow in the painting. Thank you for watching the video until the end. I hope you are always full of creative inspiration, and see you again in the next tutorial videos where we will explore more interesting and unique painting topics. And before ending, I want to say that each painting, whether small or large, is an opportunity to try and express your own style. Feel free to add colors, details, or experiment with different compositions, because creativity when practiced and spread will be much more meaningful. Keep the joy in every stroke and share your work with everyone so that creative inspiration will always be multiplied. Thank you again for accompanying, and see you in the next videos where we will explore more creative and inspiring drawing topics.